It's Sean.
What
Hey,
up?
Sean, what's happening,
How you
man?
doing? How you
Good
doing?
to see you, good to
Hey,
see you.
darling.
What up with you? Look at you. You floral.
I know, isn't this like, oh.
Uh-oh. How's everybody? Good,
Excellent.
No, grape leaf.
good,
What's
good.
cooking, Sean?
I got some rolled grape leaf for a little Greek situation.
Love
Who's
it.
coming to hang out with us today?
So you guys are going to be very thrilled to meet Emmy-nominated celebrity hairstylist, spiritualist, parent, and model, Gracie Cartier.
Oh,
Oh, what a beautiful name.
Legs for days, Gracie.
Yes, legs for days, Gracie.
Gracie.
Antonio knows. Yes, she also represents the transgender community.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay,
We got
wow.
a lot to get into.
Do you think the conversation will ever change from like, I would have never known or I would have never guessed?
I hope so. I mean, I think that would be, we will have arrived when that happened. You
Like
know,
it
not
won't
just-
even matter. Like,
yeah,
why would
like
it
that
matter?
whole
All right.
reaction. Yeah,
All right.
I think that'll be beautiful. I think we're headed there.
We've
I
got to
hope we
put the
are.
hope in the
You know
universe.
what? Okay. From your lips to God's ears, I guess. Why don't y'all get into these?
Well, okay, thank you so much.
Sean.
That's good.
Honestly, I think the whole passability, you say you think we're getting there to the point where it doesn't matter. I think that is the goal for everybody, to be treated as a human being first.
That's a wild thought.
You got a puzzled look here, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for some people it does matter. I mean, I was just thinking back to the first season of Pose, and there was that character, Electra, when she was in a relationship, that the difference of who she was actually valuable to her partner. And so
Can you clarify what you mean by that?
he wanted her to keep the dick, and she wanted to not keep it. So
Like the bottom line was, he felt like if he wanted to be with someone with a vagina, he would be with somebody with a vagina. He liked being with a woman with a penis.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's it's a scenario that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I have trans friends. I have ones that are very clear she's a woman. She has no interest in cutting off her penis at all. Like she says, all these girls are going to Thailand and getting these designer vaginas, and they ain't happy. But that's her perspective. That's what works for her.
Yes.
For other friends of mine that I have who've gone to Asia and Brazil and other places and got designer vaginas,
Yes.
they're very happy with them. And it changed their world and it made them feel complete. So I think to the question that Sean is asking, this idea of how we're perceived by others and to be questioned, like whatever that is. Like people say, oh, I didn't know you were gay, or oh my God, I didn't realize you were black, or you're so articulate. Like all of these comments that are really more about what's being jarred, right, in the other person's experience of you.
Right. I get that a lot with age. That's why I started lying. I usually don't lie. The only time I do is when someone asks me how old I am. I say 76.
Okay.
So that they can say,
You look great.
You look great for 76.
that's the response I want. Not,
They gag.
whoa, I would have never guessed. I didn't say 100. Good grief.
Like that 76.
What moisturizer do you use?
Semen.
Oh, shit.
Aaron.
I'm eating.
Aaron.
Do you know semen is one of the best for a face?
Hello.
It really is.
Oh, so
For
you
men.
use semen as well?
I'm trying
your
to tell
beauty regimen?
Baby, I have used
Oh, wow.
through the years.
I think we're sleeping on some business opportunities, Cheryl.
Oh, that's what
Why
I
are
was
we
gonna say.
marketing semen as a face cream?
And then I won't have to share my king-size bed. Okay? That would be smart.
I think most, I can't speak for most, but I know some trans women prefer to be treated simply as a woman and not always trans, And even beyond that, as a human, we are all human. That is like the one thing we all have in common.
When you say that, though, I'm super confused because when we say embrace who you are, isn't that who they are? They're trans.
Interesting point.
And you've decided that you wanted to be trans, and now you want me to acknowledge you, and now you want me to skip past the trans because now you've gotten to a place where now you want me to acknowledge you as a woman. Okay, now look at here. This is a whole lot of acknowledging.
I see where you're coming from. A shift happened in a person's life, and you are kind of resisting having that shift happen in your mind, at least, which I can kind
Who's
of see that
resisting?
kind of like, oh, am I expected to make a shift as well? Well, I think that's a fair point. But I think with shift you can and should, and it's not even a shift, is to just always treat people as human beings, as your equal.
I get it, Chris, because I came up in trans in the community. And when a person is exploring and finding themselves, it can be like, whoa, it's not easy, rolling through this whole transition with people.
When they show up, you say, who do I call you today? But I mean, not in a disrespectful way,
Yeah.
but so you and they get it, like they know they've been Marquita and Marquetta and
Yeah, I
Marshall,
feel like what Chris
right?
said, though, you want me to acknowledge, okay, you were a boy, and then you transfer. So let me just refer to you as I do, and then you be comfortable with that.
You just made me think of something. One of the things that many of them talk about is the difficulty of their parents who say, I raised Beverly, or I raised Sam, and now you want me to call you Debbie. You're Sam to me. And they take different positions on that. Some's like, the only person who can call me Sam is my mama.
I heard that.
And she may do it out loud in the grocery store.
Absolutely. But then there are others who will say, if you can't embrace who I was never Sam. So if you can't embrace who I am, and I'm telling you who I am, I'm Debbie. Okay. And if you can't, you have to mourn Sam. If you want to get to know Debbie. So I mean, and who's to say what position is the right one?
That's
It's
right.
like, I think to your human point, if we're just open to each other and allow people to be whoever they want to be, and if they change 15 minutes later, okay. What effect does it go? Do you, boo? Right? Like, what effect is that gonna have on me?
I
not
really
as
agree with that.
complicated.
I
Good
think
point.
it could be so simple, and we do complicate it by adding these judgments and different rules for different people, and doesn't apply to me, but it applies to this person. That is adding complications in your mind.
Well, that goes back to the LGBTQ and all the letters,
Absolutely.
I was thinking.
See, I don't see that as complicating. I see the adding of letters as including more and more people into the family of inclusion.
I see.
It's kind of like one big happy family.
But it's not, it's just big. It's not always that happy.
And it's
though.
not, and it's not,
It's
and
one
that is
big
true.
family trying to get happy.
Trying to get, amen. We're trying to get happy. We're trying to get happy. And that's,
know.
Now that I'll accept.
You say that, I'll accept.
The happiness is fleeting. But joy is internal, and that's what we're really looking for.
It's fulfillment is what I think we're really looking for, to be fulfilled.
Fulfillment.
And
Good angle. I
making
like
that distinction, because you can be happy one moment, and that thing that you thought was the source of that happiness
Like
goes
your lover,
away.
that significant
Lovers.
other.
Or it could change. It's just like people change pronouns. I think that's where a lot of people are still frustrated with pronouns. Traditionally, you're born and you're given a descriptor of male or female, and then now, as people discover themselves and determine for themselves who they are and how they identify, and then they choose their pronouns and how they'd like to be referred. And then some people will mix it up, because you would even think systematically if someone picked she, her, and hers.
that's right.
Okay. But then we'll have somebody who'll say she, them,
Okay.
and they, or
That's it. That's it. Them, they.
you see, I can't keep
You know
up.
what I wanted to
And
say
then-
right now?
and-
I see you
and
making an
I'm not the only
effort.
one. You see me making an effort, and
And
the
that
thing is
is-
that
that
it
means
is
a lot.
effortful because it's a lot. It is a lot.
Let me give you a trick on that. You know how I navigate pronouns if I don't know?
How?
I just use the person's name. You just refer to them by their name. Then you don't have to mess up. You don't have to worry about making a mistake.
Or getting
Or
anyone mad.
if you make a mistake and they say, I'm a she, then make the transition, because a lot of people will continue to
Yeah.
refer to them as a he, as an attack.
That's
but if
true.
you do that, that really reflects on you more than anyone else.
Okay, I know. Let's talk about this, because I know this happens sometimes in the transgender community and with people who are engaging with some transgender people for the first time. And I just watched something on Instagram recently, and it was this beautiful speech from this woman in Canada who is visibly transgender. And I say visibly
Yeah.
transgender because I visibly saw in transition.
Okay.
And I think that's
What do you mean by that?
This looked like a man with a wig on. And I know that there are a lot of people like me who see a man with a wig on,
Yeah.
who is identifying as she, her, and hers.
Okay.
And that's the dissonance for you?
It's not
like I
a
see a man with a
dissonance.
wig. What
It's
is it?
not. It's the idea that there are people like, for me, I am open to the idea, and I refer to her as she and her
okay.
and all of those things. But I saw what I saw.
Exactly.
And there are people who see what they see. I recognize the fallibility of us, but I also, part of the fallibility is what is familiar and what we recognize.
Yes.
But what is the difference for you between a man in a wig and a transgender woman? You see them. You see literally just a man. It's a man with a wig. I'm a man in a wig sometimes. So you say, I see what I see.
Yes.
But how does what you see affect
So that
you?
when you actually put that wig on, do you now want me to say she?
I want you to mind your business.
Oh.
That's what I want.
That's what you want people to do.
That's
But
what I want
here's
people
the
to
thing.
do.
Now, how is that gonna bring the love to you, baby?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I-
Because how is that gonna bring the love if now I need to mind my business, but you're telling me to embrace you and accept you and love you and not beat you because we're so abused and shit?
Don't kill.
Now, how is that gonna bring the love?
Because what you do is you're judging. You're judging
I
a
didn't
person.
judge you.
When
I'm trying
no,
to
no, not me.
understand why
Wait.
you got a whole mustache and a beard and a wig on.
But why do you have to wonder that? What does that have to do with you?
I do see what you're saying.
It doesn't
but, I mean,
affect
I
you.
would take it in. I mean, I would take it in to be curious.
Curious, is that
Yeah,
it?
I would be
Okay,
curious.
Okay.
I don't. Maybe it's just
and so
me.
would you say, hey, she, girl,
No,
hey, honey?
I wouldn't make any assumption. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't assume it's a she or not. I just, okay, she rocking not she as in asking her she. I think to myself, this person's rocking a goatee and a wig. Okay, that's some creativity going on here, you know.
Oh, I love these words. I love these words because, again, whenever I say it, I sound like I'm the crazy. And I'm sitting here like, do y'all realize that there's a lot of people who actually
Yes.
see things the way
Yes.
I see
Absolutely.
things that are
Yes.
very visual, and that
Yes.
the visual is the
Yes.
visual
Yes.
regardless of how you feel inside about your soul and everything else?
Yes. I do absolutely believe that.
We sit here as open-minded. What we want to do is explore so others can be open-minded. I think you feel as a woman in your soul, which gives you that urge to put the wig on, whether it's my business or not. I'm going to make that judgment call because I'm human. If you're a human being, you judge.
It's what you do with the judgment. We're making judgments all the time.
I don't know. I see people. I try to live by treat people the way you want to be treated.
Sure.
I don't want people looking at me and making judgments and insulting me in their mind. I don't want that. So why would I do it to someone else?
But when you put a wig on in this society and you continue to have your beard, then people are, that's how we were raised. We were raised that with these preconceived notions that a man is not supposed to wear a blonde wig.
Okay, well, this is the time to
Exactly. That's why
update
we're
our thinking.
Yes,
But then he may not even identify as a man.
that's true.
True.
That's true.
So that may not even be a man with a wig on, because he will say I'm non-binary or when I say these categories
yeah,
are
how
like,
do we not make it so
But it's a
confusing?
human being.
But
that
it's the
keeps it
public.
simple. That keeps it simple for
Okay,
everyone.
so tell the world.
But what I'm curious about is, like when you go to fill out forms, like when you go to the hospital, like almost everywhere you go, it asks you your gender. Do you write in something? What do you do?
No, because I know that they're really asking for my sex, which is male or female. That's what
so
they're asking.
you have now judged what they really want to know.
No, it's not a judgment. It's just a misuse of the word gender. I think we as a
You
society.
assume that they're misusing
I'm
it
not
as
assuming.
opposed to getting the information that they really want.
I'm not assuming. This is just my understanding of the word gender, and I don't think we as a
Can we
society
take
really
that a
understand
little
the term.
step? Let me take that a step further then.
Okay.
Because I do think that some people who are questioning gender don't write down their sex. They don't look at that question that way.
I can't believe you brought that up. During the COVID test, I looked at male and female, and it said gender, and I said, I could write pangender because that is how I view my gender. Or I said, no, I think they really want to know if I'm male or female. What is my sex? So I just wrote male. I checked male.
I see.
Yeah.
Got
It is our business, though. We can never say it's going to be the world's business. And that's where I go back to, if we can have the conversation, somebody will hear us and say, wow, maybe I should just let people be who they are.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Indeed. Hey, don't forget to eat.
I hear trans people talk about the violence that they endure. It hurts me because I feel like maybe I am trans. I want to say that we have butted heads, but what I saw today was you making an effort to expand your current awareness of transgender and just gender in general. And I appreciate that.
That's beautiful.
What?
You would do that, wouldn't you?
Right. Like, I'm not aware. Like, I
Oh
don't even
no,
understand
you are
that.
aware. No. I don't.
No,
think
I mean, I'm not, it's not about my lack of awareness. It is about my recognition of what other people see. I am a beauty professional. I am in the industry of beauty and visual aesthetic, outward
Okay.
aesthetic. So that for me, how you present yourself on the outside, all your soul and all that good inner goodness and whatever you decide you want to be when you wake up in the morning, lovely. But when you walk out of your house,
that's right. Image.
what does everybody else see?
I was referring to when
Do
you
they
said the
see
pronouns.
your soul?
You know,
Yes.
adding your
yes,
understanding of
because-
pronouns.
And that matters too, because if you walk out the door and you, in your mind, see she, her, hers, but everybody else sees he, him, that man over there, then that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me take back my compliment.
Take it back!
I take it back. I take it back. Rewind the tape.
I ain't ready!
I hear a knock at the door, and my guest is here.
Thank God.
Gracie!
Yes,
Hi.
all right.
Don't forget, we gotta be COVID conscious here. Hello. How are you? How are you? Lovely.
Hey, Gracie.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
Yes.
For you.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you. He's a
Lord,
gentleman.
legs for days.
Legs
We
for
all
days.
about these legs.
Good, you.
Thank you
Good
guys
to
for
see
having
you.
me.
Oh, you're so gorgeous.
Welcome, welcome.
Dinner time.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect.
Right on time.
Thank you. You're very welcome. I got grilled lamb chops with creamy polenta and a side of tzatziki sauce. Enjoy,
How do you
guys.
pronounce it?
Tzatziki.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you.
Delicious.
These look
It looks
amazing.
beautiful.
So you have done so much in your career, and what would you say is the highlight? That might be a tough question.
I would honestly have to say my highlight is just retiring from being a hairstylist in the industry. That was a definite moment for me. I've been in the industry, been a hairstylist for 27 years, and in the industry as a hairstylist for 11. And I'm very grateful for the journey, but I'm really excited because I'm stepping into what I wanted to do before I became a hairstylist as a child. So
What was that?
acting, modeling.
Well, you can definitely do that, baby. Woo, you simply gorgeous, sweetheart.
Marco.
Thank you, love.
Been on numerous magazine covers.
Sure.
Chris wanted to.
Well,
ask
yeah,
you-
well, I'm a hairstylist. And
I
so
love the
people
leather.
can- Oh, thank you. You know, I just try to give a little something, a little
I
risk.
see.
Okay.
Serving leather
You
clean.
know, just a little something. That's for dessert. So I love the transition because I think that understanding the power of beauty and the power of aesthetic, I'm sure that has really, really helped you as you've decided how you're going to infiltrate the industry and how you're going to make your mark. And as I've tried to talk to, you know, my family members here in the house, that there's still that outer presentation that is so critically important.
It's very important.
Yes.
I mean, because the reality of it is image really is everything. And
Say that again, baby.
image is everything.
It really is.
Image is everything. And you know, when they see a perfectly packaged, even though, you know, perfect, imperfect. However, that's the first thing people see when they see you. They see your image. They see what you're bringing. Like, they see the look, they see the hair, they see the aesthetic of what it is that you're wearing. And that's the first thing that people see when they see you. So it's like, you want to make sure that that is all the way on point. However, it is great when the inner aligns with what people see on the outer.
There we go.
True that.
There we go. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
Okay.
You acknowledge perfect, imperfect. I always say perfection is an illusion, which means we're all what? Perfect.
I've been reading about your trajectory or your journey into where you are. And I heard that you started in terms of like coming out in the ballroom scene. How did that start? I have been so fascinated with ballroom.
It was interesting because I came out at 18 and I went to my first ball. It was a party that me and my friends went to. We were all just coming out at the same time. And they were like, we want to go to this party, you know, you should come. And I was like, okay. And we arrived at this ball. And that was the first time that I seen what a transgender woman was. And in that moment, I was like, oh, so that's what I've been feeling on the inside.
Oh.
To see the whole visual aesthetic, because for so long, I knew as a child that I was different. I knew that it was something special and unique and amazing about me as a child. However, I think, our upbringing, because of their own ways of how they think that we should be or how they have it, the picture in their mind of how we should be.
Probably much harder in our community.
It's so much harder. It's so much harder. I mean, with the men in the family, with the masculine toxicity, with the women of, just their like, just like of their own ignorance to it, it's detrimental to a child's growth. And I speak from experience because, like I said, I knew as a young child that there was something unique and different.
Can you think of specifics of things you used to do?
I mean, aside from playing in my mother's glam, dressing in her clothes, I always wanted to hang around the women. I always loved seeing women in their full essence of femininity. I just enjoyed just being one of the girls. But it was also very interesting to me that I knew that I was attracted to men in a different way. Even growing up now, I say that in a way of, I knew that I wasn't attracted to men in the way how another gay man will be attracted to another man. I knew it was on a deeper level in regards to knowing and understanding that divine feminine energy within myself, but also being attracted to the divine masculine energy, like how women like to, we like to feel pretty. We like to feel, protected. We like to feel nurtured. We like to feel taken care of and know that we have this solid foundation. So I knew that was a little bit weird for me as a kid to kind of identify with that, but that was how I knew.
At what age?
I would say around 4 or 5.
That's that magic time.
This is why I encourage parents to really hold space for the things that their children may say to them or the things that their children may be doing, because children know, the intuition level, the awareness level, it really is, they know.
Listen to your child.
They know. Listen to your child. Support your child. Nurture your child.
Do
Allow
not
them to just
ignore
express and be. Do not ignore. Do not shut
agree.
down.
'Cause it's
And that's
not
what
gonna
happened
work.
to me. It was I was shut down. All my ideas, all my thoughts. It was. God bless my
And look
mother.
at
She did the
this.
best that she could
Yes,
with the
yes.
tools that she had.
And that's why you're here right now.
Can you talk a little bit more about what was shut down in you?
My voice, my perspective, my creativity, all of those things were no, this is how you have to be. This is what you have to do. Boys don't do this. Boys don't sit like that. Boys don't think about creating in that way. It was always boys don't do. And when you constantly hear what boys don't do, everything about your unique self, you feel as if it's something wrong with it. So it hinders you from moving forward into the fullness of who you really are.
Would you go so far to say that that was traumatic?
Extremely traumatic. I'm still unpacking that right now.
Oh, you're so okay if you can even speak those words.
I got chill bumps. Growing up, you hear. Growing up, you hear the word trauma, but I feel like I have not really understood the fullness of trauma until this past year or so. Really identifying the specific moments in my life that caused me to behave.
How did you come to this understanding? Did you seek out any support, or I'm just curious?
I'm a spiritual being.
Right on.
Always have been. I grew up around so many different religions and so many different practices, and I just kind of got to a place where I just took everything and just made it my own and what works for me, because spirituality really is an individual experience.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
That was the eye-opening for me, and it was hard because you even had to unpack spirituality too, because my faith was told me everything about my existence was wrong. So it's
Oh.
you preaching and you praising and you giving all the glory, but at the end of the day, you still feel wrong for who you are.
Which ends up re-traumatizing.
And you know how when people say, the things that happen to us in our lives, we kind of attract that. And as traumatic as the experiences that I have endured in my life, I sit and I'm saying, I didn't ask to be shot. I didn't ask to be beat with guns. Like, I didn't ask for all of those things to happen, but there is, on a deeper level, there's that built up, pent up anger that you have not only towards yourself, but that you have towards others that you carry around with you, so you don't really understand why you're always like attracting
Inviting
these
these experiences to recreate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it is a process. But we go through our journey to become who we are, and the strength that once you go through, if you can stand and not crack, the strength, I love it. I was like,
It hurts me every time I hear trans people talk about the violence that they endure. It hurts me because I feel like maybe I am trans. For some reason, they inspire me and I look up to them.
because you live in your truth.
But it hurts that they have to go through what they have to go through. And it doesn't have to be that way, and it just hurts.
It's heartbreaking. I got to a point in my life that I feel like, I wouldn't say numb, because I'm very aware of what I feel and how I feel. It's the norm to know that not only Black trans women, but our Black queer community, Black people in general, are always like put all the way down here. So I think the more that I've stepped into my own truth and my own individuality, it kind of like, it doesn't faze me.
They're healing tears.
You talk about being shut down as a little boy. That's my life story.
You don't cry. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be tough. So that when it did come times to being shot and being robbed and being through all of those things, that when I would like go through that, I would continue to just push through life. Not realizing that like it was just like building and building and building and building, and then it's like that moment where it just like hit you and it explode.
You know, this is sort of a mirror for the Black experience, that just continuing and continuing, and, you know, because the Black community is traumatized as well. And trauma is really just enduring stress that doesn't allow your brain to connect to the emotions of what's happening to you. Like, you can't take that in, and that's what makes it a trauma. And so, whether it's based on your race or gender and all these things, in order to survive, you just continue to move forward. But until you stop, which is what I'm hearing you talk about, is starting to really explore for yourself what has happened and acknowledging, you know, what has happened. And
Choosing to heal.
It ends up changing your energy, so the things that you're drawing today, I would imagine, is very different than the things that you were drawing previously. Is that fair?
It's totally different. Thank you for saying that, because it's totally different. Like, the energy that comes into my space now is totally different. The men that I attract is totally different. It's only because I'm more accepting of myself and I walk more in my power that it attracts that. Before, when I was on that low frequency of not really
Say that again.
that low frequency, because we like high vibes.
That's right. That's right.
When I was on that low frequency, I was attracting that in men. I was attracting that in men who knew that they were attracted to me aesthetically or however,
All of it.
because it's a package. They were high, but they were only mirroring to me how I was hiding within myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
It being a reflection of what you're putting out.
Everything.
You're
Yes.
attracting these guys who are also hiding and not comfortable with themselves, so that your lack of comfort presented men with lacks of comfort.
And that lack of comfort is lack of healing, fear, which can perpetuate violence,
Yes.
shame.
Shame. Because, I mean, they experience the same masculine toxicity that I have.
And I think for Aaron, what I'm observing is possibility. That word just came to mind, and when you see the inspiration from someone like Gracie, because I think that you just want to know that it's safe to be more of who you are.
It really is.
And that's what that inspiration is. It's like, maybe it's safer than I emotionally feel that it is, and I can show a little bit more.
I feel like I have been my authentic self. You know, I don't think I need to transition. I think that I do wear wigs sometimes, but you know, I feel like I have been doing that.
Do you feel safer though, as opposed to?
I feel safe in my apartment, and that's where I do it.
Yeah.
What is it about, say, Gracie, for example? What do you think it is that inspires
Well,
you?
like Cheryl always says, you've got to be a real fool to think that a person would choose to be persecuted the way trans women are persecuted, just
that
for the
real?
fun of it.
Ain't that real?
You got to
What
be a damn
nut
fool.
would think that somebody want to go through this? You know, nobody. If it's not there internally, and anybody think they're choosing, how do we choose to be Black and persecuted? No.
I feel it very disrespectful. Who will want to endure such a painful and traumatic life.
Yes.
The only choice that you make is the choice to like rise above it and to really be who you are. That's that's
Baby.
the choice in it.
And when you do that, there's no stopping you.
And I think that's the answer to your question.
She's just come, oh my goodness.
There ain't no
She's
stopping
going.
you.
See them?
The strength, the strength.
You got
You know,
light all around
no one would choose it. So when I meet a trans woman, I'm like, you are a superhero
Yes.
for all of humanity.
All of humanity.
All of humanity.
Thank you for saying that.
So
All of
true.
humanity, because it doesn't have to be you transitioning. It's whatever it is that is your authentic calling, whatever it is of how you feel like you want to show up, to just show up in that space and in that full capacity. And I think trans women and trans men, they show you that you can be whoever you want to be at any given point in time. You can also be too.
Would you say that people who are trans, they have to overcome the idea of, I've been misplaced here, and I've had to fight my way into the place that I feel the most comfortable? Is that a fair statement?
No,
or
I would
no?
say it's fighting against society and winning. Because in the end, despite all the persecution, you're here. And that is inspirational.
And this is not just for anyone gay or straight. You know how many straight people hiding from themselves?
Yeah,
Every daggone
everybody.
day, they just want to be free. I can't hide. I just can't hide. I can't get under the rock. I've been to the penitentiary. I've shot dope. I've had to sell my body to survive. I've done it all. All the things that makes me the degenerate of society. And guess what? I found my way out of the pits of hell. I really feel good about myself. That's why Gracie's a superhero. Because you taking this to another level.
There's levels to this ish.
Give us some love after the break.
Okay. We'll give you a little love after the break.
How you like the lamb? It's really good, right?
I was just about to say, can I have a doggy bag? Can I have a bag to go? Because in the process of me traveling and going to these balls, and in the process of me going after my career, it affected my daughter, and then it caused her to have abandonment issues.
You talked about ballroom, but we didn't go in depth. I wanted to know, because I've always wanted to, well, I can't say I've always wanted. I just discovered ballroom because of the TV show Legendary.
Pose.
Not Pose. I didn't even see Pose, but I did see Legendary every episode. And it's really queer. It's a queer black
Yes,
art form,
Queer
really.
Black. It started in New York City. I don't know if you're familiar with the documentary Paris is Burning.
Absolutely.
But it originated from that. The gays will come out and live their grandest lives, their grandest fantasy, and I'm just so grateful because it has opened the doors now to mainstream, to where you do see the shows like Pose, which is, I would say it's an accurate portrayal of the life of the ballroom culture, the life of what we call transgender women now. In the ballroom community, it was called Femme Queen.
Okay.
Femme Queen, Butch Queen, gay men will be called Butch Queen, and you will walk categories such as fashion, Vogue, Best Dressed Spectator, things as a house, and it was more so about family. It originated from family because, you know, in our community, it's not the best.
Yes.
So they would create these things called houses, as we're at the house.
Yes.
But I started in the ballroom scene in 1997. She was Butch Queen, at the time, Butch Queen, Face of the Year. Face was my category.
Of course.
Ooh, baby, the night they made you, they was in love. Oh.
However, I was what you call an all-around Butch Queen. Face was my category. That was what I became legendary for. But I was also a fashion kid, also a voguer. I loved to vogue. Also runway diva. I would say the ballroom community really prepared me for Hollywood. Oh. It really did. It prepared me in terms of the politics of it all. Just like I had to make a name for myself in the ballroom community, like really work my ass off. It was the same way that I had to do with my career here in LA.
Like you said, you were ready because of the discipline, the dedication that had to be there. You brought it here.
Mind you, I had never been to a ball before. My first ball, I walked the category, and you just thought that I had walked balls for years. I didn't even know what it was, but it was something that was just already like innate in me.
and you,
Same with Hollywood. I didn't know how the business worked, but I just like got right on in there and just like did my thing. I'm very grateful because I moved here from Atlanta and I was working with Lorianne Gibson at the time, who was working with Lady Gaga. So I was all around like the whole Gaga camp. I hit the ground LA running. I was very grateful because I moved here with an opportunity already set for me. So I was working with Lady Gaga, well, working with Lorianne, who was for good Lady Gaga, but I still got to like travel with them and like do the award shows with them. I was lit from the beginning. Lit from the beginning.
Blessed.
However, you know, that train will go up and then that train will go down. And that was the first time that I had experienced the shift in how one day you hot, the next day you not. And I had a not so hot experience. And I kind of like took a step back just to like reassess and like get myself regrounded, and then put myself back out there again. And then I landed an opportunity with the twins, T and Tamara. And from there, so many great things happened. I immediately got into the union from working with T. I was a star request, of course. And I don't take that lightly because it's really hard in the industry to get into the union. We all know it's like, it takes a lot. So I worked with T for a long time in the beginning, and then I started working with Tamara, and then I started working on The Real, Emmy nominated. That was the first time I received my first Emmy nomination. Thank you. From there, it's just like, it just kept going, and I worked with a lot of LA's A-list, beautiful Black queens. It really had a huge impact on me because I worked with women who had a very long, legitimate career in the industry. They say when you go out on top. I would say my last, look at me name dropping. But I'm very grateful
You paid your
because
dues, baby.
these is women that I grew up watching television with. You know, I watched all their shows. So for me, Jada Pinkett she was my last client that I had worked with. And being from Philadelphia, I didn't have a positive father figure in my life. So Will Smith was that for me. He was the one that made me want to see outside of Philadelphia and want to attack my dreams. So the fact that I was like one day just doing hair for Jada in their basement and Will Smith just walks in, it's like
Dreams come true.
that was another highlight of my career. And it was really more so a highlight because this was the time when I had took a step back from the industry to focus on my transition. Like I was already established as a hairstylist in the industry, but like I knew that I needed to transition. And so I like stopped working, took a step back. That was my first time working again in the industry. So to be welcomed into their family, to this day, forever grateful.
What does the future hold?
You can catch her on the runway. You can catch her on the cover of a magazine. I'm really excited in regards to my acting career.
You are a parent.
I am.
People probably are surprised to hear that.
I'm not only a parent, I'm a grandma.
Come on now.
Grandma of an amazing 2-year-old little girl who I'm just obsessed with, my baby Mulan. But I have a soon to be 25-year-old daughter.
Oh, wonderful.
That too was a huge factor in me prolonging my transition.
So were you bisexual at a time?
Well, I mean,
Exploring. Okay, you know, everything's okay.
Indeed.
she's never not exploring.
Okay. I love it.
She's never not exploring.
Come on.
But I was at the time I was dating women. I dated a woman and we got together and we were very young. I had my child 2 weeks before my 17th birthday. And like I can't sit here and talk about the effect that my parents had on me as them being a parent and not also address it and take responsibility and ownership of my own. Because in the process of me traveling and going to these balls and in the process of me going after my career, it affected my daughter. And then it caused her to have abandonment issues. I'm aware that just like my parents, I was just trying to figure out who the hell I was, bringing in a child into the world at a very young age. So I take responsibility for that. And there has been a whole lot of healing work in regards to me and my daughter being in a very great place right now. I'm extremely grateful.
Show me the book to be a parent. We got books to put cars together and how to fix a refrigerator. I mean,
There's no perfect.
I tell parents,
There's
be very careful. What you are going through in your life is to try to find yourself. So we can't look and say, hey, I did a really bad job. Not at all. You did the job, like you said, your mother could only give you
It
what
allowed me to have compassion for my parents. The more I began to have compassion for myself, it allowed me to have compassion.
In that role, when the roles reversed.
And now your daughter has learned so much.
Thriving.
Ooh.
I'm so proud. And it also goes to show that even if there was years of, there may have been a disconnection, there's always connection because although I wasn't like, she has a lot of her mother, however.
I hear you.
There's so much of me in her, and I see it, and I'm just like, I remind her all the time because like I said, my mother did what she could, but I know what it felt like just to hear those words that I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. She's killing it. She's doing it her way.
Mm-hmm. And you could appreciate that.
I appreciate that. But I also had to check myself because I wanted her to be who I thought she should be.
Look at that. Look at that.
So honest.
And that's out there.
Isn't it something? Won't life always be like, won't always check you? Like, really, girl?
So honest.
I think that parenting is an incredible responsibility, however you do it, right? But when you can be proud of the job you've done and you can see the results of it, there's nothing better. Nothing better.
Even in my flaws of being a parent, I'm extremely proud.
Absolutely.
I'm extremely proud.
Good.
Because you just mentioned pride, and I also did read that you have advocated for a separate trans pride experience.
Wow.
Even before becoming trans, I've always been out there for my community. Always and forever will. Do we have a lot of things that, when you said tools, you spoke on something, because I want to touch on it too. You said something about the tools. And right now, I think that this time that we're living in,
Yes.
it's easy for us to, as we're dismantling systems, but let's dismantle our own prejudices, our own judgments, our own, where we're not making our own people feel wanted, seen, and loved. And this is the perfect time because the veil has been lifted off of everything.
Yes.
The Band-Aid is off, and it is
right,
now
baby.
a time to look at everything. So I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for us to all freshen up on our tools. How can I be a better parent to a child that may be gay? How can I be a better friend to someone who may be thinking about going through a transition? How can I be a better partner to come into the conclusion that the person that I fell in love with may be in love with someone else or may still love me, but it's just so much work.
Yes. What you're telling our community. Let's become aware of the white supremacy that we were raised up under, that have this infighting within us, and let's dismantle that. Come on, let's
Yes.
With a L.
toast. Whoa.
Cheers to
Nothing
all
like
of
living
us.
in truth.
Knocked on your door.
Knocked on my door.
And said what?
Nothing. I didn't answer because you know what? I was afraid. In my own apartment.
So I have my theories, but why do you think there should be a separate trans pride event from your regular? Oh.
Okay. There you go. In keeping with the Mediterranean theme tonight, I've served baklava. Enjoy.
Baklava.
So, I see the persecution that trans people experience. I would want to go to a trans pride event before I would want to go to a gay pride event as a gay person. It really shows that I'm an ally, and that is something I don't get by going to a gay pride event. You see what I'm saying?
Trans women have been at the forefront of the movement from the very beginning.
There we go.
Yeah, gay event is a trans
Let's
event.
start there. The doors were open, the movement was started because of trans women.
Okay.
Because of Marsha P. Johnson, because of Sylvia, that we are able to just be and to just celebrate and to just be who we are. So I think that it's very important that trans women are held up.
Yes.
And to feel supported by our community, because oftentimes not only are we facing society, but also within our own community.
I know in the gay community, and in particular in the Black gay community, there's all of these levels of divisiveness among Black gays. There's all these categories.
There's
and
always a
boxes.
category.
It's always a category. I mean, does that exist in the transgender community as well? Is there kind of
Categories?
yes, and that divisiveness?
A bit.
A bit? Okay.
A bit.
Because I think when we talk about it, we kind of always and especially when Aaron talks about a child, it's free love and everybody love everybody.
He's so passionate.
He is, child. I love it.
So there's a bit of that also, and as someone who at once was a black gay man, and I knew what it felt like to kind of like be on the outside, being like, oh, the feminine gay one. And then when I transitioned, it was like I transitioned and I was actually like a queen with a beard. So I knew how the levels of like a drag queen, and they consider you a drag queen. So it's like, it's levels to it. It's levels to it.
It costs.
Me, how much
Ain't
it
no-
cost?
I'm saying that these transition and these layers, this stuff costs.
Yeah.
So if you got a youngster, all you can do is nurture, you know, because it takes time.
Take time and money, yeah.
It takes time and money, but it also takes the belief within yourself, because this was my 5-year plan. I'm just touching my 4th.
Ooh, wow.
When you really have it within you, and with your spiritual tools, with the support of like family, whether it be chosen family, it is possible. And that's why I wanted to say to you, it's never too late to start. It's like I said, I started at 37. Because I know what it is to like accept yourself. I did that too. I accepted myself as my past self because, excuse me, but I was the shit as a man as well. I was fly as well. What you see now was the same of how it's been. It's just that my outer exterior changed. You can do it.
I will say that I'm open to it, but I really do feel that my soul is female and male. And the male side, I feel like if I were to do something like a transition, then I feel like I'm gonna be in the same situation. My male side is going to now feel like, well, what about me?
I'm happy that you said that, because this is what I want children coming up to know, that it is an individual experience.
Yes.
It is an individual expression.
All of it.
If you feel that you want to show up as you are now and identify as trans, you have all the free will and all the space.
I almost want to say thank you for giving me permission.
But at the end of the day, I still celebrate who I was. Like I still post pictures of it, I still share, I still hold space for that person. I'm not trying to kill that person off. So if you feel like this is how you show up in your transness, and you know, children, sometimes we think that you have to pick and choose, and you don't.
Do not.
You don't. It is your own individual expression. And to any child who is thinking about it, follow your gut. Trust yourself.
Yes.
Whether it's showing up in this form, whether it's showing up in that form, but trust yourself, trust your intuition. But I know one darn thing. Stop killing us.
Right there.
That's one thing. Stop killing us.
Oh,
Trans people are not a threat. We're not a threat to
course
cis
not.
women.
I hear
We're
you.
not a threat to cis men. We're not here to compete with women. We're not here to like try to like change or persuade
Or
a straight
take your
man's-
man.
Or take your man. That's not the thing. Like I always tell some men that are not sure of themselves, first thing they say is like, oh, what the f you looking at? Like, stop looking. And it's like, just like women have a preference, so do I. And you're not my type, boo-boo. I'm not thinking about you.
Reed, I tell my sisters all the time, take your man. Can't nobody take your man, number one.
If anybody can take him, honey, he wasn't yours to
wasn't
begin
yours.
with.
Yes. And then I gotta just acknowledge these dick desperate bitches running around. Excuse my language.
They better
I don't know if I
get
should say I could-
Cheryl.
DDBs.
Like the
Desperate
bottom line is like,
bitches.
no, love yourself. It takes self-care.
We're not out here to compete. We just want, and that's the thing is like, oh, you want to be me, you want what I, and it's like, no, it's not about that. Do I admire the strength and the power of a woman? Absolutely. Those was my reasons, not because I'm trying to compete with you and not because I'm,
Well, and I, you know, I am kind of the anti-voice of the kumbaya moment. I'm sorry, you know, and I am, you know, and I realize that that's who I am.
I live for it. I've been waiting for it. Come on.
No, it's just because now there are some girls out here that like to start some shit now.
come on, let's
This is
talk about
true.
it.
We all know
That's true.
that there are some girls out here that are some shit starters, and they like to be messy.
Stir the pot.
They come out messy. They roll up on your man messy.
That's true.
They do all of this stuff that creates. So I think we need to take ownership of both situations.
I disagree. It reminds me of the conversation of gay black man attacking another gay black man because he's a bad representation of gay black man. No, you are responsible for yourself, and if someone else acts a certain way, they're responsible for their self, and I don't think it's fair to put the entire community on a person and say,
No, we be accurate
But
with our
you
words.
did
It's a
that. You
messy-
did that with
it's a
black
messy
men.
folk.
You say black men are highly abusive to trans black women.
They are. This
all.
is,
Of course not all.
So you can't have it both
This
ways,
is
boo-boo.
where I get
No,
heated.
it's not. That ain't right.
This is where I get heated because while I was out there protesting Black Lives Matter, the reality of it was that all my black brothers was killing my black trans sisters. So it does cause that. Like each and every
But
week.
there are black brothers killing black brothers.
There are.
So they ain't just killing your trans sisters. They are killing black men too. So black people are still killing black people, just period.
Well,
But this is why I said that we need to all focus on our own stuff, even
Right,
within our community.
And that's why I say I get it, I get it, but we can't sit here and act like, you know, we're the only victims, you know, in the black gay community.
Because when you said victim, like that really like triggered me a bit. Because
too.
It triggered me a bit because one thing I don't like is like to come across as a victim. Even with being a survivor of gun violence, it happened. Like my experience, it happened to me.
What could we ask of straight men? What do we want from them?
Just to really feel supported and like to be publicly supported. Just really showing up.
I love that message of support.
That would be amazing.
It's gonna change the dialogue.
That was a great message.
Great messages are usually simple. And I thank you for bringing that message in terms of support, because I think when we're having conversations with straight men, we can drill it down to just that. All we're asking for is your support.
And what we also want is we want healing for you too.
And then beyond that, I think that a lot of times we see straight black men as a threat. Gay men do, trans people do. Some of that's perpetuated by media, some of it's real. But I think if straight men don't feel like we're there for them, why would they be there for us?
But the reality of it is that I also still keep speaking from my experiences, like speaking that I was abused by my uncle, who was a black man.
Okay.
I was physically abused, I was sexually abused, I was shot by my black brother. So it's like, it's not that I'm like just personally trying to attack. I'm just also coming from my experiences of what it is that I knew and what it is that how I grew up.
I've been guilty of overgeneralizing, saying
Yes.
straight black men this. And I clearly don't mean all straight black men when I do that, but I do generalize
We all do.
because of, like you just said, my experience. From my life experience, it has been, I will say, 99% of straight black men that I interact with have insulted me in some way. 99%. That's not an exaggeration.
But then
So-
that also, that percentage is relative to how many straight black men you actually interact with.
Well, it's a lot. I grew up in a black neighborhood. I went to black schools.
Yeah.
I've been around black people my whole life.
Yeah.
And it's been an
Let's be real.
overwhelming
Yeah,
amount of black men.
Let's be
who have-
real. Growing up, whether you gay, whether you trans, whatever it is of you being a part of the rainbow family, we all knew that growing up, all the boys in the neighborhood, like, yo, open that faggot, like.
That's not.
So it's
That
the
was-
generalizing
that was
comes
our-
from that.
I don't
That's
know
where
where
it comes
you were
from.
born or where you
Yes.
grew up, but that was our everyday.
Absolutely, but now, as a grown-up, in your grown-up
I
situation...
still experience it. Last night, I have to say this. I went home to my apartment and I heard my neighbor say, "Oh, that's the guy that looks like a girl." The is wrong with you? Don't you have a
a guy
life?
that looks like a girl?
But guess what? Why are you talking about me? Don't you have a job? Don't
So
you have a
then where was
girlfriend? Don't
the
you have
lie?
business?
Where was the lie?
But maybe it's a
Get
desire.
a life.
But get this.
He
it
did.
may-
He told you
I'm
what
not
he
talk-
saw.
Hold it, because it may be this desire. Oh my
He didn't
goodness.
desire
No,
that
I'm
shit.
saying
He
it's
said
possible.
what he saw.
I know, but it is possible. But I understand what you said. Why are you so interested
Why are
in...
you so concerned about me?
But get this, but it's a fact.
Hey, y'all get lit.
Y'all getting lit.
They knocked on my door. They knocked on my
way.
door.
They knocked
After
on
that.
your door.
Knocked on my door.
And said what?
Nothing. I didn't answer because you know what? I was afraid. In my own apartment.
No, that's
You were
horrible.
afraid?
Come on now, Chris.
But for what? Why would they knock on your
who
door?
cares?
I'm
It didn't-
curious,
you didn't
where
feel
did you
safe.
grow up?
In Chicago. Off the 9, baby. So come knock on my door. I'm here for it. But why is he knocking on your door?
They wanted to antagonize me.
I'd like to offer a perspective if I could. I have been fortunate to be able to be in and among straight black men without provocation. Sure, when I was growing up, you know, they might have made remarks or whatever, but me showing my own self-confidence and comfort in who I was and not feeling like I couldn't be fully me with them, or more importantly, that I somehow thought I was better or something, that they couldn't be fully themselves with me. And I think when you create that kind of space for a person to just be whoever they are, what comes out of that can be very, very magical. So I just wanted to share that.
I agree.
It's a real fear.
And I want to just say that I don't lack empathy. When you talk about, you know, your beauty and your aesthetic and how that matters, and when you're making choices to wear clothing that is
My choice?
ambiguous. Yes, it is your choice, baby. It's
We get
always
you.
your choice, and
We
it's an
get you.
ambiguously gay choice. Okay, I just can't keep pretending like people don't have eyes, and that they're not reacting to what they see.
Certain
But
things come with territory.
the reality of it is like, I know every day I walk outside my door, some people consider me passable, some people don't. I really don't give a shit. But the reality of it is when I walk outside my door, I know how I see myself.
Right.
It doesn't mean that society sees me the same way. It doesn't mean that
Right.
society is going to address me the same way.
Exactly my point.
But
That's true.
I know how I see me, so it doesn't affect me. So as though they saying like, yo, it doesn't affect me because I know who I am. But the reality of it is, it is a protest. Each and every time that a trans person walks outside of their door, that is a protest within itself, period.
There we go. And I
And
love
you
that.
should, and I think
And I
where
love that.
Aaron is coming from too is you shouldn't have to feel afraid. You shouldn't have to feel put upon. You shouldn't have to feel like you are subjecting yourself to being disrespected. They should mind their own business.
I agree.
They should mind their own. They should mind their own business. But I will say that I do think that it also still. I'm not trying to, because I understand we're all where we're at in our
wish it
growth.
was
But
like that.
I feel like the more you become 110% confident and secure within yourself,
I've received that.
that it won't even.
It will fly off your
It
back
will just.
like a
It won't
dog.
even matter.
Okay, and what did we learn? If you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
You're on the menu. That's right. If
And
you're
they're
not
knocking
there,
at your
you're on
door.
the menu.
And the only person gonna eat me is the way I want them to eat me.
Well, I've been fed.
I've
been fed. My heart, my mind, my belly has all been fed.
Hello, and on that note, we have come to a conclusion,
Oh,
and
my
it has
God.
been such a joy.
Absolutely.
I have,
Thank
my
you,
life has
Gracie.
changed because I've met you,
Aw.
so that is real.
Oh my
Thanks for
God.
coming, Gracie. It's wonderful, wonderful
Thank you
having
guys for having me,
here.
and thank you guys for creating this space for people like us.
Did you enjoy the
Seriously,
food?
I did. I got my
Sean-
doggy back to go.
Sean
And can we put a little bit of that dessert in there too, Sean?
Oh, Gracie, come back.
Oh, we want to thank you so much for coming, Gracie. And we want you to know that once you come to the house, you're always what? Family.
Yes, family.
My food, I be